Ivory Jr. I'm one of 16 members of the Atlanta City Council. I am your District 3 council member, and on behalf of Mayor Kasim Reed and all 16 of us on the Atlanta City Council, I bring you greetings to the historic C.A. Scott Recreation Center and to the Mosley Park, Hunter Hills community. We are in sub-area 2, and welcome yourselves to the Westside, the D3 Westside Revived Redevelopment Planning Effort. Go ahead, start with applause. Let's get our D. This is so long overdue for years. We've been trying to move resources west of Joseph Lowery Boulevard. When I took office, my predecessor did a phenomenal job at creating a thing called the Tax Allocation District. You may have heard of it, and the Westside Tax Allocation District, for a large part, has really helped us to champion proactively a lot of redevelopment efforts west of Joseph Lowery. But for the longest, we've been trying to get a lot of mayors. I remember back when Jerry Riley was chair of MPUK, there was an effort to try to get some planning dollars to do a redevelopment plan for this specific community. And things really didn't evolve the way we had hoped. That was years ago. But our neighbors, you've not left. So many familiar faces, people who through the decades have not abandoned our community in spite of so many challenges. You know, starting with some of the greatest neighbors in the world, you know, so far we've not found the drink for immortality, and some of us, we depart when it's our time, and those households that were led by great families have transitioned and left many of our houses vacant and abandoned. A commercial corridor on Simpson Road where you could drive up and down Simpson and get just about anything and everything, eat just about anything and everything, entertain yourself in about just every way imaginable on Simpson Road. And a lot of that is a direct consequence to the neighbors, the demographic, the institutional makeup of a neighborhood. It has evolved. And so this is a point in time where through this process, we have engaged with the support of Mayor Kasim Reed, partial funding from them and partial funding from our office. We went through a procurement process to hire. The redevelopment planning process is not an unknown, it's a well-known fact here in the state of Georgia. The State Redevelopment Powers Act gives us the power to engage citizens to do redevelopment planning. These redevelopment plans, once they're completed and come before council for approval, they become the blueprint by which developers are governed. The strongest and most tangible evidence of it is in the redevelopment plan that you will help to produce. It will begin to govern zoning and land use matters. Now, normally you attend an NPU meeting and you hear from a developer who you don't even know, who will come to you and ask you to change zoning, change land use for something that they want, for some specific use that they have in mind that's developer driven. The projects and the ideas that will evolve from this process are going to come from the stakeholders. It will come from the residents. It will come from the businesses. It will come from the churches. It will come from those folks who exist within the project area, who will help to begin to set the parameters for the future land use and zoning that will occur in some areas too. Some areas too include, for the Westlake community, we understand Westlake Heights community. We have Hunter Hills, and we're talking about an area actually east of Westlake. Hunter Hills, Washington Park, the Weston Heights Bankhead community, stopping at Joseph Lowery Boulevard. The intent of this sub-area is to take those neighborhoods that have, you're all contiguous to each other, that have many things in common, bring us together and to figure out where your concerns are. You know, what is the future of where the Tasty Dog used to be? You know, The Clinton Hospital, it's a shame that we hadn't convened early enough to save that historic landmark. But we have other historic landmarks, like the Ashby Street Theater. You know, and what happens? You know, so I'm here to say, and I'm bringing this to a close, but you've heard a lot of activity going on east of Joseph Lowry, things like anti-displacement tax funds. We have built relationships with philanthropists who are helping and to assist to help create these kinds of things with the Westside Future Fund. These things are not mutually exclusive to the 4 or 5 neighborhoods that those tax funds support, which are now Ashview Heights, Booker T. Washington Community, the AU Center, and Vine City English Avenue. Even though the driving force for that was the Westside Tax Allocation District and the stadium neighborhoods. There's, as late as yesterday, a conversation about including other neighborhoods west of Joseph Lowry. And the tax fund, all it does is it helps to freeze taxes at this point in time for homeowners that meet certain income requirements, who have lived in their house a certain period of time and who plan to stay in their house. And so it's just an opportunity to prevent all of the increased redevelopment from having the consequence of displacing. These are the priorities that we are embarking on is for resident retention. It's for strengthening the community against the challenges that we often face with gentrification. So if you hear rumors and innuendo that this is just a plot to quietly come in and take property, well, I live in these neighborhoods on the west side. If I'm talking about your annihilation, then I'm talking about my own annihilation. And I can assure you on behalf of our office, that is not our top priority. I will take the time to introduce my staff, and then the others that are here today will introduce as I bring up the members of the planning team. Shayla, you're next up, right? All right. I do want to take the opportunity to introduce to you one of the most dedicated staffs a council member could ever have, and my executive assistant and chief of staff, Ms. Milan Henderson. Please give her a round of applause. And Ms. Leslie Battle Williams. These two young ladies have an institutional knowledge about this district that even far surpasses my own. And I trust them not only with the business of this office and the business of this district, but your future. A great deal of debt for the time above and beyond that they provide to the office and to the district. So I personally thank you, publicly thank you all. Without further ado, Shayla, I'm getting old here, last name. Shayla Reed. Shayla Reed, folks. With our planning department,